Well, good morning, welcome. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda this morning?
Madam Mayor, there's an addition of a letter that we would like to discuss during 8.3.
Perfect. Oh, just under the community events grants, that's the one that everyone has. You should have a copy on your desk there, perfect. Is there a member of council that would like to approve the agenda for December 3rd, 2025 regular meeting of council with the addition to 8.3 community events grants? Councillor Finn, thank you very much. All in favor? That is carried. Any corrections or amendments to the November 19th, 2025 regular meeting of council? Is there a member of council that would like to approve? Thank you very much. Councillor Jeffrey, all in favor? That is carried. This morning, we have no proclamations, no public hearings. We have one delegation, which is the quarterly report. We have 3 gentlemen this morning with us. Good morning and welcome.
You guys change things around here.
I know, when you were over there, I was
walked in,
like,
I
oh, that's
confused.
right. Last time you were over there.
All right, good morning.
Good
Before
morning.
I get into the quarterly report, I'll introduce myself as there are a few new faces here.
Yes.
Not
Oh,
too
yeah, I
many.
guess this is your first time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we have a new council, so welcome. Yeah, if you want to introduce yourself and then.
I shall.
Implement.
So my name's Staff Sergeant Ryan Hoomer. I am in charge of the police detachment here in Drayton Valley. A little background on myself. I'm just rolling into my 20th year of policing. I started in St. Paul and spent 5 years working out of there. Then I went to Grand Prairie and did general duty uniform policing there for 3 years. And then I switched over to an organized crime team out of Grand Prairie, which is a covert team that targeted gun and drug traffickers. And I did that for 3 years. And then I promoted here to run your, we have a small 3-person plainclothes team here that targets prolific offenders, drug trafficking, and any serious crime. So I ran that team for 5 years, and then I promoted to sergeant here to be in charge of the operations. And then Staff Sergeant Raditz decided to quickly depart and retire and opened up a spot for the staff sergeant. I bumped up into that. So I've been here for 8.5 years. This place is home. My family and I care a lot about this community. I actually just grew up in Rocky Mountain House, so I'm close and I have no plans on leaving. This is where we've chosen to raise our kids. And so yeah, I'm invested, I care. I have a large family that I am raising in this community. So that's me. And I've brought the rest of the Drayton Valley leadership team, well, we'll call it the leadership team with me.
I like that.
So we have Sergeant Ferry. He can come up and introduce himself. He's pretty good at doing that. And then we have Corporal Turner, who runs our GIS team. So he can come and do that too. But Dan, you can come first.
Good morning, welcome.
Morning, I'm Dan Ferry. I'm the sergeant in charge of operations here, part of the leadership team. Yeah. So what I took over Ryan's position that he left when he got promoted to staff sergeant. So I'm in charge of the boots on the ground, essentially. I'm coming up on 15 years service at the RCMP. I actually started my career here in Drayton. This is my first post. This is where I met my now wife, and we always wanted to come back to the community, always wanted to come home. So we finally did. We spent some time in Red Deer and with the Edmonton Serious Crime Branch doing some work in homicides and serious investigations, persons crimes, and then was with Stony Plain or Parkland and ran their crime reduction unit. So kind of a varied experience, but was always really, really keen on coming back home. Much like Ryan, don't anticipate leaving anytime soon. This is where we wanted to stay and raise the kids as well. So you'll see me around for a long time as well, hopefully. And yeah, I can pass it over to Cam here, who's also on the leadership.
That's what we call No, my name's Corporal Cam Turner. I guess I'm on the leadership team. I run the Drayton Valley, our plainclothes section, our general investigation section. I've been doing that for basically since he left. Yeah, I've been in Drayton. We actually started on the same day in Drayton Valley. So 8.5 years. I've got about 18 years of service with the RCMP. I've worked in Leduc, in Grand Prairie, and then here, in various different things along there. So yeah, no, I've my family's grown up here because we've been here for 8.5 years. So enjoy it here, and yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Well, welcome, thank you for that. They might be looking for Christmas bonuses or something now, part of the leadership team. Big,
Public funds and bonuses, I don't know. All right, let's jump into it. So I think everybody gets this package in there. There's a nice little letter from myself on behalf of our CO. I'm more going to just focus on our these few. So every year we set policing priorities, and our fiscal year, for those who are new on council here, our fiscal year, it's a little bit odd. It runs from April 1 to March 31. So come next February, I'll be sitting down with your council as well as Brazeau County Council to set next year's priorities. So the way we set those priorities is I'll usually run a couple town halls, engage the public, and then I engage both councils, and we decide on what the priorities for our policing are gonna be for the next year. A little bit of that comes from our K division as well. They definitely push our community engagement, so which is normally in line with what the community wants anyways, but from our CO, they're big on community engagement, so that's been there for the last 5 years and probably will stay, having us engaged in the community. But our first one that we set was preventing and reducing property crime. That's a priority for Drayton Valley, has been ever since I've been here. That's really, Drayton Valley, I've always said, of all the communities I've worked, it's the safest when it comes to violence, but it has its property crime issues. So that's continued to be a priority here, and the way we do that is, you'll hear me talk lots about how a large percentage of our crimes are committed by a small percentage of individuals. We refer to them as prolific offenders. And so when we're doing proactive investigations, which lots of Cam's team does, to be honest, they're gonna target certain individuals that are responsible, we believe are responsible for committing those large percentage of crimes. So they have done, one of the goals we set this year was Cam's team using covert tracking techniques. I won't talk too much about those techniques in this forum. But we set a goal we can run tracking warrants on using different devices. We set a goal to do 4 of those this year, and I think we've hit that already. And the last quarter was actually quite successful, led to the arrest of a few different prolific offenders. The other thing we do is curfew checks. We got pretty busy this last quarter, so those kind of fell by the wayside, but we've cranked it. Our leadership team has really pushed the members to crank that back up, and actually they've been doing really good. We do shift reports where they report that on, and this month they've been hitting them a lot. So those numbers are going to come screaming back up. Other than that, community engagement, we do lots of different community events, especially over summer. We did the Canada Day Parade, airport breakfast, coffee with cops, community liaison, your school resource officer in the summer. He turns into more community officer. So he works with Lola and her team to do the local skate jam and kind of puts that on. And we also started a liaison program with the Drayton Valley Thunder. So myself and another individual who are into hockey, I guess, have started to do we're the liaison officers for the Thunder, so we'll show up there. We work with Jeff and Josh, and yeah, selfishly, it's a bit of a recruiting ground for me because lots of those young men are going to have to do something in the next couple of years.
Right.
And yeah, so I actually think it's a great opportunity to get in there and just be part of the community with them, but also push them towards policing. Yeah, I'm not shy about saying that. One of the other priorities we set was drug trafficking. So that was identified by you yourselves as council, as you wanted just the overall drug use is a concern, I know, for lots of this community. And while we can't target drug users, it's not successful, we can target those who choose to profit off that addiction. And so we set that. We set a goal of 4. They're actually quite complex investigations, so that take time. So we thought 1 a quarter would be good. Cam and his team punched out 4 in like the first 4 months. So they hit that goal right away. They've been kind of sidetracked as our property crime's gone up a lot lately, but we actually had, we did a 5th one, and this one's kind of unique because we actually did a tent in the homeless camp, which the nuances of the criminal code, that's actually quite challenging. Normally, we can simply write an address down, and that's how we get the authority to enter that address. It's a little more challenging when you're trying to articulate to a judge what tent in the homeless camp you want to search. But we managed to convince them that we knew where we were going and we could identify that tent using GPS. And yeah, we got it off. We got the order given and we went in there and 2 individuals got charged for trafficking out of there. So yeah, it was a good file. That was done by one of our general duty guys. And then the last thing we have is our proactive community patrols. We identified that this year. We wanted to get into our parks more in town, and in the rural, we wanted to get into the campgrounds. So we're tracking that. So over the summer, we did 23 patrols through the parks and playgrounds. That's just basically walking the trails. We're getting out on foot and walking the trails in there. Any questions about that?
Any questions? Councillor Brooks?
Councilor Brooks?
Thanks. This might not be, it's not totally pertinent to council, but I was wondering why you need a search warrant to enter a tent that's on public land. And I'm sure there's some dumb reason, but I was just kind of wondering, it was the.
So the tent is still considered their dwelling place, and then people have an expectation of privacy to that. It is on public land, but you can't look at it too much different than if I'm out camping on public land. Nobody has the authority just to walk into my camper trailer without a search warrant. Yeah, so that is considered their dwelling place for that time. Therefore, you need authority to enter, you need a search warrant. Has rights of privacy. Yeah. Yeah.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Councillor Jeffrey?
That's the rules we get to play with, but it's a good question.
Yeah.
Mine is about, you talk about curfew check goals. What's that about?
Okay, I'll explain that. So often when our prolific offenders get released, and they often get released, they will be put on a curfew. So it's normally, we've charged them with offense. We throw them in front of a justice of the police who decides on, it's basically a bail hearing. They decide on release, and often they'll get released with certain court conditions. And that is usually to reside at an address and to be home during the hours. It's usually between 9 and 6 or 10 and 6. So we will go check to make sure they're home, and they have to present themselves at the door for those. Yeah, it's just tracking them, making sure they're home. And residing where they're supposed to be residing. We have individuals who will get released and never actually go back to the residence they're supposed to reside at, so.
Any other questions on the
Yeah, that's a
priorities?
good question.
Councillor Clark?
Yeah, I guess the drug trafficking side of things, at Alberta Munis, we met with your leadership.
Our leadership team.
Your leadership team.
And one of the things they talked about is, of course, you can make arrests, right? The second part of it is, are they going to get convicted, right? So, of course, they said the docket in Drayton Valley is like 6 miles long. So one of the things they suggested we could do is do the community impact statements. And they said when it's coming from a municipality, maybe it has a lot more weight than maybe a Crown prosecutor could bring, in terms of the various things it can bring. So is that something you think we could do more of?
Yeah, I actually had a conversation with Mayor Dodds about this. I actually do think we can use that, especially since that was coming from the Crown in that meeting.
Yeah.
making that suggestion, who is therefore in charge of our crown, so that should hold some weight.
Yeah.
I think that is something we definitely should look at. I mean, I'm usually not satisfied with convictions that our offenders get or the process that prosecution does. I get they have their job and I have my job, and I'm always going to be on the high end because I'm a cop and that's just what I'm going to be. But they probably get tired of hearing our voice, but if they hear your voice, I think it would carry more weight.
Great.
I think we have to be careful not to overuse it.
Yeah.
But I think if there's certain files that
Yeah.
our team should reach out to you and say, hey, this is an important file.
Yeah.
Or we just identify which files we want,
Types
right? And
kind
if
of
it's
thing.
in there, then we add that community letter saying this has been identified as a priority for this community. We want you to pay attention to this file.
Or individual even.
Or,
right? Yeah.
or this individual,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Okay, that's great. The other thing, you brought up the SRO. I remember we chatted maybe 6 months ago. Star Catholic kind of expressed some interest in an SRO. Is there anything further on that with them?
Yeah, so I think, do you want to talk about it, or do you want me to talk?
Final budget back to you, we'll be including that portion in it.
So that would be for a second?
It's
For
not
Star Catholic.
Yeah, and it's not for an entire position.
No.
Yeah, Wild Rose wasn't, we didn't know how we could do that without having, I didn't want just to have one for Star Catholic, one for Wild Rose. Wild Rose is way bigger. And that Star Catholic officer, I didn't think there was enough. So I had recommended if we wanted to, then we should split the schools equally and they should work as a team. Wild Rose wasn't super in support. What's working, they have something that's working well with Spencer, and I understand that. Why would we spend more money when what we have is working? So the in-between is we came up with the idea of, it's basically overtime dollars, and a couple of our officers have identified that they'll get the training and do that work. And we just asked for $40,000 to be split 3 ways, just to provide designated hours for Star Catholic for that. And in conversation with the Star Catholic superintendent, I think that's a good starting point. And we'll kind of go from there and see where we go, but yeah. So I would guess it would be included in the next budget.
They're going to receive their final budget on December 17th, so
Okay.
it'll be an addition from the original budget deliberations.
And those conversations have happened with Brazeau County as well, too?
Yes,
Oh, perfect.
Brazeau County has approved it.
yeah, Brazeau County has
Oh,
approved it,
perfect.
so
Yeah, and Star
we
Catholic
received
has
their
said
letter
they
from
will.
them, so that's why it'll be included with your next one.
Oh, that's
And we
great.
are meeting next week as the SRO committee, and Star Catholic will be included in that. We're basically going to outline the wording that we're going to basically send in to our organization to get that funding done.
Perfect. Did you have any other questions, Colin? Any other questions on the priorities? No, just great job. It's nice to hear that you're connecting with the Thunder players and trying to recruit them, as well as keeping up those drug busts. They're really important in our community, too. So thank you for all the hard work that you do.
Sounds good.
Did you have another question, Councillor Brooks?
Yeah, maybe just to follow up on what Councillor Clark had mentioned. When it comes to prosecutions on specific files, we're not we're not in the know on what, who's been arrested and what prosecutions are going on. So, when something is, kind of high importance or high priority to us, like, you guys are gonna let us know, or
Yeah.
like,
I think maybe we'll have to, maybe we should get together and have a meeting that we kind of identify, okay, what files do we want to identify, or what individuals do we want to identify? And then that will work from that framework. And even if we have just like that, we know when it hits that threshold, we include that letter that comes from you as a municipality. That might be the easiest way to do that, is that we sit down together, identify who or what we want, and then we can have that letter, and it will only get sent if it hits that threshold.
Sure, we'll do schedule
Okay.
something. Any other questions on this, and then we can move on? Nope, perfect.
Okay, so I'll just talk about where we're at for resources right now. So the town has 14 positions. We have 11 working. We have one who's, she had twins, so she's on mat leave. She comes back in February, actually, so she'll be back quick. And then we have 2 hard vacancies. Hard vacancies mean there's no officers here for those positions. And the special leave is then our maternity leave. Detachment support, we have, you have 5 positions for our detachment support, 4 working and 1 is on medical leave right now. So that's where we're at for our resources right now. That's all stuff. I'll flip, I'll go to this and then I'll go back to the next slide. This is a snapshot of where we're at for the year. So at one point we were tracking pretty good, but this year for the new council, our persons crime has always been up, and persons crime for the police is often hard to proactively deter because it's often a crime of like emotion and response. So we are usually response officers to that. But it has increased, and that specifically, most of that increase, when you dig into the actual numbers, are coming from simple assaults. We still are not having any sort of unknown assaults, like random assaults. It's all known people, unknown people. We've had a little more conflict in the schools, and those files that our SROs are dealing with are often dealt with, are often scored as assault. I don't know, I think we used to score a little differently. The fight at the skate park probably used to be scored as disturb the peace. Now we're scoring as assault, but no charges are coming out of it. It's usually a consensual fight, and you're not usually charging. So we've had that a little bit, and the other increase we have seen is our spousal abuse. If we go back to our numbers, our spousal abuse survey is at the bottom, and we were at 88 last year. I think we're at 113 this year, if I remember. 87, 116. So we have seen an increase in spousal violence, which is always not a good thing. But once again, unfortunately, as police, we are simply call responders to that. It's hard for us to do proactively intervene on that. Property crime is still down slightly. This is just till October, at the end of October. That number is going to increase because in November we have had a rash of vehicle thefts. It's almost 1 a day right now coming out of town. So we had one last night. Cam went out and found it this morning, and it's been recovered already. But we've had a large number of vehicle thefts. We're working proactively to curb it. We had a good file. We chased a quad into town there 10 days ago. I don't know if you guys saw the video. The video of the chase got released. That individual was just on a quad that day, but 2 weeks earlier, he was in town in a stolen truck, running with another one in tandem. That quad was stolen out of Marathorpe. One of our trucks here was recovered in Marathorpe, so he was doing crime here. We were hoping when we got him arrested, we'd curb some of it, but it's continued, so there's more than one crew. We had another this weekend. We used air surveillance again and had a successful spike belt stolen truck recovery, arrested both out of them. Prolific offender from here who, Cam and I chased him around when he was like 14 and he's now 22 and prolific. He's been charged on this. That's been sworn, hey? Yeah, so it was Ashton Cardinal. I don't know if you remember that name, but
I think I remember you
on
talk
parole.
over the years
Oh,
saying that.
very short. I think the last time he got on parole, it was like 48 hours and we put him in custody here. And this time he was in a stolen truck and it was a week later. So we are having some success, but we've identified a couple more crews that are still operating. So we just need a little bit of time for them to make the mistake to get them under control. So
Go ahead, Councillor Clark.
So is that due to the time of year and people running their vehicles and leaving them unlocked?
some of it,
and-
yes. We had a stolen like 2024 4Runner that was left running and unlocked. Just like that. I wish we lived in a world where you could jump out and run into the store quick and grab whatever you're picking up and run back. We used to live in that world. We don't, and unfortunately, so we had one go on the weekend just like that. And just the wrong timing, that person had had pulled up to a truck that had criminals in it, and they had unknowingly parked right beside the truck. So those criminals were like, oh,
Luck of the
Wow.
draw.
right?
Yeah.
So like timing and
Yeah.
like if they had been 4 or 5 stalls over, probably wouldn't have mattered, but they had pulled right beside it. So like those are, but it just shows like we got to be locking our vehicles. If you want to leave it running, get out, turn it off, hit the command start, start it back up again. Even if you lock it, it doesn't take much for them to punch a window and jump in and take off.
Yeah.
So,
Is that something we can be communicating, like,
yeah,
on our, like, say, Facebook or something like that, just to get the,
yeah.
just remind
It
people?
is remind people.
Yeah.
Idling season's here, but use your secure idles, your command starts. I mean, lots of people have the second set, but we've seen lots of those vehicles go too, because it's easy to punch that back window and get in, and then you just take off. You're using that as a crime truck, you don't really care too much about it for the next couple of days anyways, so, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, our vehicle thefts are definitely will be up, because in November here, we've had a lot.
Oh, go ahead, Ms. Bailey.
Just along what Councillor Clark said, I wouldn't want to build something of our own. Is it possible for you to put something out and then
Yeah.
we'll share it, just so we don't put the wrong information?
Yeah.
That would be
I can
helpful.
get our media to send something out, yeah.
Yeah, because I've been doing community, or regular council highlights after the meeting, so I was going to include something in there to say, like you had used the word idle season is here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll send something over.
Send me
then.
something, yeah, and
Okay.
then I can include it in the little highlights too.
Okay, sounds good.
And then just a question too, when we talk about prolific offenders, have we reached the point where we can put a picture and their name up, like when they used to do at Canadian Tire, and say, this guy here is in our community stealing, and we could have it at like maybe the swimming pool, the gym, the town office, little poster board with all their pictures?
So we still can't use prisoner photos.
We still can't.
Because of the way they're obtained. So the town still, if they found I mean, you have some pretty tech savvy people. People normally have social media. So if you found their pictures on social media, the town can use those photos. Prisoner photos, they don't have the right to refuse those. So we have a very small, like, legal authority to force that picture upon them. But then when we go to public sharing it, it gets dicey because of the way that photo is obtained, and we don't ever want to be able to lose how, like, obtain that photos. So that's why we can't share their prisoner photo out to the public. But if they have public photos,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay.
We're getting a little better at naming them, so there's nothing wrong with the town picking that up and then picking that media release up and then flipping a picture attached to it.
Yeah,
Or like media outlets do that all the time.
yeah,
If they can match them up, they'll throw the photo with it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
so like if the Free Press was listening, they could do something like
Yes,
that.
if Free Press could find their Facebook. Yeah, just make sure it's the
you get
right
the right
one.
name and right picture, and
The
yeah.
Free Press
Yeah.
need to check that.
Councillor
Few of
Bohm,
us
did you
who
have a
know what they
question?
look like.
Right, yeah.
I guess in regards to this too, are we using bait vehicles, and is that a common thing in Drayton Valley, or is that
Can I answer that in a different form?
absolutely?
Any other questions?
I can't answer.
You're going to answer it?
I can't answer that anyway. Yeah, we use bait vehicles in Green Valley at times, yeah. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, moving along.
All right, I'll go back. All right, so I'll just give you a quick, this is the last thing I got, just so for those who are new on council and for those who may have, just a quick overview of how your policing service is set up. So the province of Alberta is divided into 4 what we call districts. We have Western Alberta District, Eastern Alberta District, South and Central. We are part of Western Alberta District, so my reporting line is up to the Western Alberta District leadership team. And we're actually the far corner of them. So Breton, Thorsby that we border to the east, and Parkland that we border to kind of to the northeast is central. And then everything west of us is Edson. We border Edson. We border Rocky. Actually, they're central as well. And then Evansburg are west. So you have myself that as the detachment commander. Moving down, we have our detachment services supervisor who supervises all the MEs and PSEs, and that is a public servant employee. And then under that, for basically our detachment services assistants, we have 6. So we have 7 admin people. 5 of those are funded by you. 2 are funded by the province. I think they should fund 1 more, but it's hard to get money out of the province right now. I'm still working on that. But yeah, and then moving down, we have Dan. You can see as the operations NCO. And then his kind of what he oversees filters down underneath him. So our detachment, we have 3 what we call corporal rank supervisors in general duty, and they each run what we call a watch. So the detachment is basically broken up into 3 small teams. So you have your corporal, one of them is a rural, paid for by the province, and then 2 are your positions. Dan's position is paid for by the province, I'm paid for by you. And then underneath that, you can see Watch 1 has 3 municipal officers and 2 provincial. Watch 2 has 3 municipal and 1 provincial. And Watch 3 has 2 municipal and 2 provincial. Watch 1 has the extra spot. We have 13 general duty spots. Since I've been here, we have never had all 13 filled. It's almost kind of a flush. Well, if we can be 4 constables a watch, we're very happy. If we have a corporal and 4, we're very happy. So we have that one position that often, just with the movement in and out, it's usually vacant. So yeah, and then we have on the far right, we have Cam's team. So Cam runs that team. There's 2 municipal positions in his team, Cam's position and 1 constable, and then the county funds the other position for that. So that makes it a 3-person team. And then we have the SRO, Spencer, who is then funded, split 3 ways between yourself and county and Wildrose. That's us. 22 police officers in total, 29 individuals when we count our admin support.
Perfect. Any questions? This is your chance. Councillor Ryan, or Councillor Finn. It's so hard.
Just a quick comment. So I had the pleasure of going to ride along in early October with one of the constables. So if you guys really want to see what they do, I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I'd like to be put on
It
the
was
list.
fantastic.
Yeah, if you want, just reach out to me and then we can set it up. Our ride along program is back and running. And so if you want to come out, I can line it up and it doesn't have to be super late. I think Councillor Finn got kicked out at one point. So if we're going to anything too serious,
Would
we
you
have
do?
to- we have to like kick you out and be like,
It was also 2 a.m. It's ready for bed.
yeah, walk home. No. But no, 100%. And the other thing I'm looking to line up is we did the tour of our Real Times Operations Center last year.
Yes.
I think Nancy, you might be the only one
Yeah.
here that did it.
Yeah.
So I've reached out to them to line that
Perfect.
up again. You can come in and see how our operations center in Edmonton works. It's pretty neat. And you can see basically you pay, I don't want to get into all the pay stuff right now, but you pay as part of your policing contract for our admin support out of headquarters there. So it gives you a glimpse in your bill, and you'll see div admin is what it's called. It gives you a glimpse of what you're paying for and what you get. So
Yeah. It was very exciting when we were there, and there happened to be incident going on in our area.
Yeah.
When we were there. What are the chances, right?
yeah, the chopper was up.
Yeah.
Some of our members were out just over Sunchild there. so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
wonderful. So any other questions on this or anything that Staff Sergeant Ryan has reported on this morning? I guess my only question would be, so when we look at person crimes, weren't we at like 28 or 30%? Now we've gone up to 43%?
Yeah,
Significant jump?
We're climbing.
We're climbing.
Yeah, yeah. And I kind of did some digging into that, and the only thing I can find when I look at our numbers is most of that's covered under our simple assault. So I'll do a little more digging on that. Dan and I were talking about that this morning. I was actually surprised at that number. I don't feel like just listening to the radio that we've had that many. Our bars have been busier, I can tell you that, just from the number of people in sales. Oh, he's good.
Yeah, sorry, I'll jump in on that one too. 'Cause
Sure.
I just looked, we just started scratching on that this morning.
Yeah.
On being like, where exactly did some of these simple assaults? Try to get exact numbers, but there's been spikes in simple assaults being called in for, in the homeless community as well. So when he says like, it's known individuals on each other, we are getting those types of calls, right? they come in and are scored as assault, not technically
Yeah.
that the assaults actually happened, though. Could be two people fighting, yelling verbally at each other, and that gets dispatched as an assault and scored as such, and then gets concluded. So we have to kind of like dial in exactly, are these assaults actually happening or not?
Yeah.
So, because it's a huge increase, so.
Yeah.
It is, it's, yeah, it keeps rising and rising. I know that
Yeah.
Albertans are angrier and angrier, and just wondering, is this part of it?
Yeah, I think we're getting a little more, like Dan said, we do get some out at the homeless camp. We're getting a little more bar. And then I think the one that more is concerning, the homeless camp and all those types of things, the bar assaults, I think it's the spousal, like our spousal stuff's up. So I
Yeah.
don't know how we work to curb that. But that's probably almost more concerning is our spousal. When I looked, that survey code's up like 40% from last year. Yeah, sure.
And are the spousal ones, are they repeat, like,
Yes.
yes?
Yeah, and like hugely so. But also on the spousal scoring code, we are getting much better at tracking spousal. So when I see those spousal as defined by KDIV policy, that sort of thing, when I see those codes, I'm actually happy to see that up because it shows that we're doing our proper scoring and we're treating spousal violence as spousal violence and not just, okay, well, I guess I'll continue on, write the call off as something small and move on. So it is being tracked. I think that's what we've seen that climb is just the officers doing their job, gathering that data and taking it seriously. It doesn't mean necessarily that Drayton Valley has a huge domestic violence problem. It just means that we're tracking it. It's also, nowadays, the reporting options are getting much better, so people are feeling comfortable reporting that. It's getting flagged. Even hospitals are screening for it now, so when people bring up domestic violence, it does get reported to us more often. And then there's also more court orders and other things that we end up serving documents for people. It's not a criminal offense. We end up showing up to serve documents, and we score that as spousal violence or spousal. So we're seeing just it's just a big cultural trend right now, and where people are noticing it and scoring it. So I'm not shocked to see that going up at all.
So with
that
the,
kinda-
with the increase in that, after so many domestic violence calls or reports on an individual, is there a certain point where some sort of intervention is mandated that this person needs to get some sort of counseling or help? It's
Not from us. Like, we deal with the criminal aspect of domestic violence when it turns into a criminal assault causing bodily harm, that sort of thing. We'll enforce those criminal code conditions. But we find ourselves dealing with these calls or these individuals on a non-criminal, in a non-criminal capacity all the time. And there's no necessarily mandate. I believe there is some mandated counseling and stuff that happens through the family court system quite often.
Yeah,
If somebody wants proper custody and stuff like that during a separation, like sometimes they need to take courses and things, but it's not by us.
yeah, okay. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate the leadership team coming in this morning and sharing and meeting our new council, and keep up the good work. You're doing a fantastic job out there, and you've dedicated a lot of years to the police force and to this community, and you're sticking around, so we certainly appreciate it. So thank you for everything that you all do.
Thank you.
Take care, and if we don't see you before Christmas, have a wonderful Christmas. Do you have a little bit of an increase, or you should, I guess, for Christmas party, what do you call those, check stops? Okay, perfect, wonderful. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Okay, and so that wraps up our RCMP quarterly report. Look forward to this new council having the opportunity to tour the center in Edmonton, because it was a fantastic tour. We learned lots there, and where our dollars are going, and everyone's job. Councillor Brooks, did you have a follow-up question?
Not a question. Would you like a motion to receive for information?
Sure, if you'd like to make a motion.
Okay. I move to receive the RCMP quarterly report for information.
Thank you very much for that. All in favor? That is carried. We have 3 decision items this morning. The first up is 8.1, which is the FRIA grant application. This is a request for support. This is Mr. Tom Thompson. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Madam Mayor, Council. So as you correctly identified, I'm here this morning to ask Council for your support in supporting our FRIA grant application. For those councillors that are new, FRIA is the Forest Resource Improvement Association of Alberta grant. So that's the name, and we use the acronym FRIA for sake of ease. So the fire service in the town of Drayton Valley has submitted an expression of interest for a FRIA grant, in particular for vegetation and fuel management within town limits. Vegetation management includes things like pruning, thinning, mulching, and removing dead and fallen trees. And that will be, we're looking to do that within our corporate limits. We've identified various treed and park areas within the municipality, and we have put in a submission to FRIA for that. I've also attached a map showing the first phase of this process. So this is going to be a long drawn out process. There's going to be several phases to the process. This is just phase 1. So I don't want council to get too wrapped up in the areas that have been identified. The areas that have been identified on the map are areas that we highlighted because of their threat to cutting off one of our main thoroughfares or corridors, which is Highway 22. And the other one is in behind the hospital, and we want to protect critical infrastructure, and the hospital is critical infrastructure. So that is another area that we have focused on. We are working with a gentleman by the name of Murray Heinrich, who is a retired Alberta forestry person. He specializes in writing and managing these grants. He is funded through the grant itself. So if we are successful, then he will get paid through that. So it's not a private contract that we're paying. It is all done through the grant application. In working with him, he has suggested that we go with these areas to start, as they are pretty good areas to begin the program. And we have recently received information that we have been selected to the next phase of this process. So obviously the areas that we have selected are ones that the FRIA group has recognized as being areas that we can do. Another part of this that I just wanted to let council be aware of is the FRIA group has now changed their way of doing things a little bit. At one time, you could apply for the grant and you would get it, and away you would go and do your thing. They're now scrutinizing them a lot more, and one of the things that they have now encouraged each municipality to do is to build a fire mitigation strategy plan. So our plan is to do this first phase of the grant this time around, and then on the second grant opportunity, we will be applying to do the fire mitigation strategy plan. So, that will lay out more areas in the community that we need to look at to mitigate. I think that's all I needed to mention to council. So we are asking for your support for this grant application.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Any questions for Mr. Thompson this morning? So this grant application, you said it was in phases. Is this part of that 10-kilometer risk assessment original FRIA?
Yes.
Okay, it is. Perfect. So as you'd mentioned then, how many phases are there?
Well, we haven't, once we do the fire mitigation strategy plan, then we will know how many phases this will encompass. But we wanted to get started on it, so that's what we're starting with phase 1.
Perfect, okay, and then that can build out to wrap around and protect the community.
Correct.
Wonderful. If there's, go ahead, Councillor Bowen.
So with this phase, I know you got 5 blocks on here. Which blocks are going to be covered under this phase?
So the ones that are highlighted in red, those are the areas that we are going to target or we're planning to go forward with. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Clark. Absolutely, if there's no further questions, yeah.
Alrighty, I will make the motion that council supports and directs administration to apply for the Free of Vegetation Management Grant, particularly for proposal EOI 2507 as presented in RFD 25-234.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, or debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much for this. I look forward to the next phases and, protecting our community, so thank you. Next up, we have 8.2, which is the Recreation Fee Assistance Program. Ms. Whaley, good morning.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. So during budget deliberations, Council discussed the possibility of amending the Recreation Fee Assistance Program to include, for example, those currently receiving assured income for the severely handicapped, also known as AISH, or similar programs as the province of Alberta government may amend from time to time. So in the report, there was some issues with the way the program is currently running. And then there was recommendations from staff currently in the recreation areas of how we could possibly phrase this or amend this to make it more inclusive. The recommendation would be to take it away from a subscription where they receive an amount to making a line item in your schedule of fees to include sort of a low income or a qualified pass in the same way that your schedule of fees currently has a not-for-profit rate for rentals in events. This would have to be, a procedure would have to be developed. We did not do that in case council didn't want to change the program after this. But we could create a procedure for this where it would be assessed through community services. They would therefore be issued a card saying they're compliant. And this would then allow that schedule of fees to apply. They could walk in, show a card, get a punch pass, get an annual pass, attend a program, but it would just streamline the situation so that it wouldn't be an oversubscription amount because you would just have a set fee that somebody could qualify for. So we leave this for the discussion of council.
Perfect, thank you very much for this. I'll open it up for discussion. Councillor Brooks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So that's kind of exactly what I'm looking for. That we talked about it during our budget discussions. I don't know what our rate should be. Should it be 75% of the cost or 50% of the cost? I'm not sure if administration has any recommendations, but it is kind of up to council. So I'd like to hear what you guys think, but I mean, I'm not opposed to 50% of the rate, of the normal rate.
Thank you for that. Go ahead, Councillor Finn.
So just on number 1 there, so it says there's an oversubscription. However, tracking has been noticed that they're not utilizing the program. So is there anything how are they tracking that? Just with usage and?
Yes, through the chair to Councillor Finn. Generally, if somebody is subscribed to the program and then they don't utilize any of the facilities, it's noted with that, so.
So do we have anything in place right now that would say
We have no method of discontinuing their use of the program at that point.
And so one more, so basically they would get a punch pass, or is it a punch pass or is it an annual pass?
I believe the current program is an annual pass.
I wonder if we look at going to a punch pass.
There's many ways you can amend the program.
Okay.
We just brought it for your discussion.
No, for sure.
Just the current program is oversubscribed. One of the proposed concepts is to just ditch the program and put a schedule of fees line item to include. But I would hesitate to recommend to council an amount, which yes, it is council's decision, until a procedure is developed and brought back to you. So.
And would this decision involve the county as well?
They have their own program, Madam Mayor.
Okay, perfect. Did you have a follow-up question, Ryan?
No, just I think I would like if we could come up with they were given a punch pass. When they use that punch pass, they could come back and potentially get another one. Do you think I would spread out the program further? Like it's a 10 usage or whatever?
So punch pass instead of yearly.
Instead
is
of
what you're
yearly.
suggesting,
If it's
Dave?
being underutilized, if they can show that they've used the 10 punch pass and they need more, absolutely. But if they're getting the punch pass and not using it, I don't know. It's just a thought.
Through the chair to all of council, there's many ways you can amend the current program. This recommendation from Councillor Finn is one of them. Another thing you can look at is if you've received it one year, the next year you don't. And it goes on a biannual basis, sort of the same way our grants do, or when the not-for-profits apply for the CFIP grant, you can't apply 2 years in a row. So there's many ways to amend the current program, all of them up for discussion, so.
Perfect. Councillor Jeffrey?
Just want to state that I would support moving in a direction like this. I think it'll take us a little bit of thought as to exactly how to do it. I see some merit to what Councillor Finn is talking about, in that you get an annual pass, even at a discounted rate, you may not use it, right? So the concept of a punch pass, that's not a bad idea, subsidized.
Yeah. Councillor Boland?
Yeah, I would say that I agree with a lot of what's been discussed. I think sometimes the issue with the program that we have is that some people are getting free annual passes, right? And so then they get a free annual pass because they have enough kids or dependents on them, and so therefore they just don't have to use it. That's the problem with getting anything free, is all of a sudden it's like, I don't need to use it, whereas there's people that probably would use it. So no, I think we do need a charge for sure. There's got to be a minimum charge so that it's like, hey, I'm actually paying for it, I should be utilizing it. And so I agree with Councillor Brooks here in that we should probably have a reduced fee for them. It works a little bit easier, then they're paying into something. Number one, also, it'll increase our services, and number two, it'll give us money on the back end of it, which is kind of nice, so.
Thank you for that. Councillor Clark, do you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the idea of a punch pass. I mean, I'd be hesitant to say if you get it 1 year, you can't get it the next. I mean, I think that, being out and active is important, I think, on many levels, and I think you wouldn't want to preclude somebody from doing that. So I like that idea, just because I think, there's going to be a bunch of people that use it fully, right? And then there's those that maybe don't use it at all. So, yeah, I think that's probably a very good solution, just to level the playing field, let's call it, and make sure it's used fully.
Councillor Finn?
So just further to that, the only thing that it might cause is more administration on our end. But if more people can utilize the program, I think it would be worth it. Just because they'll have to, like, if someone uses 10 punch pass, then we have to issue another one or whatever, right? So it might be more administration, but I still think that would be.
So would council like administration to bring back two proposed procedures to move forward? One with the schedule of fees change, where it would apply to all the different types of programming and include some, for lack of a better choice of words, skin in the game. And one with amending the current program to change it from annual pass to punch pass. We can bring back both options more fleshed out for you if that's what you, we were going on what was discussed in budget and trying very hard to come up with something. So we would happily flesh it out into a further scope before the December 17th meeting.
I think that's a good idea, because I'm getting a little bit of both. Some are saying minimum charge and have it in the schedule of fees, and then there's that punch pass. So I think if we could have the two options presented to us to see what that looks like. And with the consideration of this, that would mean getting rid of the current recreation fee assistance program and then just putting the new suggestion from Councillor Brooks when he wanted to include AISH, and it would be combining it all into a new recreation fee package.
Correct, Madam Mayor. One would be the complete overhaul of the current program, and one would be amending the current program.
Okay,
So,
okay. Is everyone okay with that? Go ahead, yeah, sure, Councillor Clark.
Yeah, I can make the motion that council direct administration to amend the recreation fee assistant program as follows, which includes a punch pass or
Option of a schedule of fees.
or option of
change.
schedule of fees change,
Perfect.
period.
Did you get that, Ms. Thompson? Wonderful. There's a motion on the floor. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. It is 5 to 10. Next up, we have the community events grants. Is this going to be a bit of a lengthy discussion?
I believe so, Madam Mayor, and administration will be asking to split the motion into at least two parts, so.
Okay, perfect. So maybe what I'll do is I'll just call for a quick break now, and then we'll come back and split that, and then continue with the conversation. Okay, we will reconvene our meeting back at 10:13 a.m., jumping back into decision items, 8.3 for the community events grant. And we also have an addition to this to discuss. Did we want to discuss the addition now before, or?
Madam Mayor, yes, I would just like to acknowledge that the Parent Council for HW Pickup Junior High School is putting in a request, which seemed timely to add to this agenda since we were discussing community grants, to add to the music program at the Powerhouse campus that they are happily working in concert with the Drayton Valley Christian. I'm not sure if it's school or academy, forgive me for that phrasing. But this would be to add more instruments to the music program, making it more accessible to the grade 6, 7, and 8 classes. So these programs are no longer overly utilized by, or overly subsidized by the school divisions, as every provincial dollar we constantly are told is tight. So this is a request that did come in. So because we were discussing community grants and because we definitely have not expended the 2025 dollars in any way, shape, or form to the amount that was originally budgeted by previous council, I thought to add this to this portion of the agenda. Administration would also like to split the proposed resolution, which is to take out the part further that Drayton Valley Community Foundation be invited to present their proposal to council, if that could be noted as a second recommendation and separate discussion item in so much as sort of 8.3B, as
Okay.
we will have to have a member of council recused from that conversation.
Okay, so we will have, so we've got kind of three things here. So we have a letter from the school to discuss whether we would want to accept it as part of the last quarter community grants. And then we have to go through the support grant for community events policy, as well as the Roger Coles Memorial. That will be all A, and then we'll separate and have, there's an attachment here from the Drayton Valley Community Foundation and the Drayton Valley Hospitality and Tourism Authority. That will be part B.
Correct, ma'am.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll talk about the letter that we received first off. I did just have a question for administration. I know that when we were presented the fourth quarter, there just seemed to be, and I don't know, maybe Councillor Clark, if you can recall, there seemed to be a larger amount in the fourth quarter than what I thought there should be, because I thought we were quite tight for funds. Ooh, oh, no.
We will be adding chairs to the next budget
Yes.
deliberation conversation.
That used to happen always to Councillor Ballas, always. I think he switched you chairs. I think, yeah, you switched chairs. Always happen. That was Bill letting us know, yeah, something. So I did go back and I did have a little look at just some of the regular council. And in the very first quarter of 2025, we only had one request. That was from the Pembina Regional Aerodrome Association, which was for $1,000. But as we moved into the second quarter, the grants exceeded what we had. And the grant total was $33,000 for the funding request. And we had a remainder of $2,900 that was carried forward from the previous year. So I'm just trying to make sense of this, that we had spent all the money already in the second quarter. Maybe you could help me out, because then I couldn't find the third quarter anywhere in our council meeting. Good morning, Mr. Hans van Claveren.
Good morning, Mayor, and through the chair to the rest of council. So, yeah, so just let's say the helicopter overview of those grants. So the first quarter of 2025, we indeed had just one request, and that was discussed, of course. We do that every quarter. Then the second quarter, we had a lot more requests coming in. We are used to that, of course, at a certain time of the year. Not all of those were funded, of course, to their requested amount, because from last year, we experienced the over subscription. So we had the and we call that best practice, for most of those grants would be kept to $1,000. So that meant that even after the second quarter, we still had money left over. The third quarter, we did not get any applications in. We had one at the end of that quarter that was not on time. So we had only then the leftover for the fourth quarter that we recently did in council for the applications and the awarding. And the total amount for the whole year was still significantly less than the granted amount that we have in the budget, the 25K. So we still had, again, leftover. We had a little leftover from last year, excuse me, to this year. So 25K became 27 plus. And we ended over with the last decision by council in quarter four with an amount that we suggest to put it back, of course, to next year to still keep that money in the events grant potential for the future.
Okay, perfect for that. Yeah, because I didn't have any notes here, and then when I seen it was the over 30,000, I thought, well, what did we give? But so that's when we decided, rather than give the requested amount, we just gave 1,000 to each, because the other was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, there was like 10.
Yeah, that's correct. And we started doing that already in 2024.
Okay.
So we've continued with that practice in 2025.
Okay, I'll go to Councillor Finn first.
So I was just reading too, so it looks like council actually approved 45,000 for the 2025 budget for the community event grant.
And I
Right,
just
and
wanted to
it
say
used
that's
to be
most likely, sorry, excuse me, but yeah, that's most likely typo. It's 25.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's not 24 approved 2025 budget. We
Oh,
had
25 in
the regular
20, okay.
25. Yep.
Okay, but that's still, so we would have had 25 applications, is what we're saying then? If we gave 1,000? Okay, I'm just trying to. Oh, we didn't, okay. Okay, so just the 20, okay. So let's talk about the letter first. So this letter came in, it missed the fourth quarter. What does everyone think? Any discussion on this? Councillor Finn, go ahead.
Sorry.
That's okay, go
So
ahead.
just reviewing this, I know we have said no to other user groups just because it's not specific for the community. If we do approve this, then I would expect that we'll receive funding requests from all the other schools, and we just have to be prepared for that. And also, like I mentioned, so we declined one in for Q4 because it was to a specific group. The application was to a specific group and it was declined. So that's my thoughts on this. I think there is other great grants available for this in the community, even specifically through the Community Foundation, or, potentially there's other businesses that they may approach. My kids go to the Christian school. I don't think other businesses have been approached yet for sponsorship, but that could be wrong on that as well.
Perfect, thank you for that. Any other comments? I'll go to Councillor Bohm, and then I'll go to Councillor Brooks.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Finn here. I did do a quick little search here, and there is actually a grant that they can apply for that enables them to apply for $18,000 specifically for instruments, and that's online pretty quick. You can see it. It's through Muse accounts, and so there are definitely other areas and avenues that they can explore for funding. Now, I don't mind them exploring other avenues and then coming back to us if they're getting no's elsewhere. But at the current moment, I would say very similar, just that if this isn't a community-wide grant, this is just for a specific group of students at one school, that it does narrow down quite a bit. And so we would have to expand what our granting program is if we're going to do this, so.
Perfect, thank you. Councillor Brooks?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If that's the case, then we should be writing a letter to them and just, directing them to, the appropriate avenues. But, and it's not that I don't want to do this, because I actually would. But I have to ask, where does it end, right? Are we going to be buying tools for the shop class? Are we going to be buying appliances for home economics, right? At what point does it end? And, the province doesn't want to share, our costs. And I don't think that we really want to share their costs. This really is the province's wheelhouse. So while I would, I support the idea, I would really like to be able to help them out, but
the province keeps telling us how the money's tight, and they don't want to, they don't want to give us any more money, and I'm kind of like, yeah, the money's tight, we know, like, that's why we need your money. So, yeah, so I don't know if, especially if there's another avenue, I think we should just be writing a letter to them and telling them, there's this grant available from the province or from the federal government or wherever, and that they should apply, there.
Thank you for that. Councillor Jeffrey?
My first instinct is to definitely support an application like this, and I'm trying to think of arguments. I have a couple ideas. One is that when I look at the procedure, policy, or whatever it is, I feel like an application like this does meet the responsibilities section. It's based in the community, supported by the community at large. I'm absolutely certain our community at large supports anything related to music development. Opportunities for community access, I'm sure they'll have concerts that anybody can go to. And so I do think that it's a community project from that perspective. I think an opportunity to support fine arts in our community would be another angle to look at it. I always hesitate to say, we cannot give you your grant application dollars because there's other possibilities in town. That we have the dollars. It's not like we're asking for an addition to the budget. My understanding is there are dollars left. And so that's another argument that I would put forward, is that it certainly looks to me like a viable place to spend the dollars that are left.
Thank you for that. Any other questions, comments? Go ahead, Councillor Clark.
Yeah, I think there's underneath these grants, we have the Roger Coles Memorial, and what were the other two? I can't remember off the top of my head. Heritage, right? So, underneath each of those, there's criteria, I believe. And I think the criteria is there for a reason. If you don't have the criteria, then it's just open to anything. So I think at the outset of this program, let's put some guardrails on this so we're not everything to everyone all the time, right? And, to your point, where does it stop? So, for me, it's a tough one because, I certainly support it, but, when you look at the criteria, I don't know that it fits myself, but that's just my opinion, so. And like you said, there are other avenues, there's grants, there's other places, and I think that's how we can support stuff like this, is direct them to places where it's not tax dollars that are necessarily going towards it, it's grant funded. So I think that's, in my opinion, I think that's our move, is do that, and then say, if you run into difficulties, maybe come back to us and we can revisit.
Thank you for that. Some great comments. It's always hard when people are looking for extra dollars to support their programs and such, and I know that I certainly appreciate the work that our teachers do, and a lot of times they do pay for programs and supplies and things out of pocket. It's very unfortunate, but I would agree with the majority of comments that there is a criteria when it comes to this, and that it doesn't impact the whole community, it just impacts this school. And once we start giving to one school, we will be giving to all the other schools. We had discussions in the past about parks, like funding and things like that, and just, those one-offs. So I do agree. I think that I would be in favor of sending a letter, and just suggesting that to apply for to the Community Foundation, to the other grants and things like that. Maybe do some fundraising, because I believe you said, Councillor Finn, that they hadn't started fundraising efforts yet for this project. Is that correct?
They've done one, they did one fundraiser last fall for the, this past fall for the music program, but there's an opportunity to do more, I think.
Yeah. So what I'm understanding is that from the majority, I'm sorry, Pat, well, and then too, I think that's just kind of how sometimes it goes. And then I think too, you do have to know that you will probably have all the other schools come forward, right? And eventually that there won't be enough money. I know we have a lot of money now, but usually, is it the first quarter that's usually quite busy, or is it the second? Second is really for applications. As you can see, there was 33 or 35,000 last year from all the different groups that came forward. Do you have a comment for that?
Just the comment that the fact that we have the dollars left at the end of the funding cycle is a concern that I would like to express.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. So maybe just sending a letter back is what I'm hearing from council, responding that to try other avenues?
Yes, with council's blessing, administration will send a letter including possible other grant options and suggestions that council's made. We can take care of that.
Okay, perfect. And then kind of to go off of Councillor Jeffrey's comments, what we have left over in the, just looking here, is it 17,000?
Approximately 17,000. ma'am.
Approximately 17,000, okay. So 17,000 still the rollover. So with that in mind, that brings us to the next conversation, which is our policy. So currently we have the support grants for community events policy. There was some discussion over the last council to amend, to change, or to have a look at how this is administered. So maybe I'll open it up for comment from council. Did you have a look at the policy? What are you thinking? What would you like to see amended or changed? You love it the way it is. I know, Pat, you're talking a little bit about the carry forward, right? In the past, how we previously, we didn't cap it at 1,000. I think that came from maybe suggestion from the county, because the county had, when requests come in, I think they just do an automatic 1,000. Is that correct, Cody?
It's not a hard cap of 1,000, if I remember correctly. It was I can't remember what the criteria was. After $1,000, there was some kind of criteria, and I don't remember what it was. But, so most people just kept it at 1,000 is all they'd ever apply for, so.
Okay, I'll go to Ms. Whaley and then Mr. Von Claveren.
I believe through the chair to Councillor Brooks, that would be your FIN 7 policy from the county, where it was, if it was up to 1,000, it didn't have to come to council. After 1,000, it came to council. And so they kept it at 1,000, so council didn't have to discuss it.
So actually, so wow, that's right. So it was 1,000 was it came to council, 999, and it didn't.
Oh, okay.
But people could always apply for the $1,000.
$1,001. Thank you for that.
That's right.
So there is the option to go back to, if they're requesting 2,500 for an event, then if the money is there, then we would give the 2,500. I know that there was a couple from the previous that didn't fit into the criteria. So that's where we would have the opportunity now to look at the criteria for that. So we could change that. I know there was a certain, so that was for the Drayton Valley Legion, and what was the event again? Emergency response. So why didn't it fit in here?
Thank you for that. So any event that is geared towards a specific group would not apply, would not be applicable for this grant. So if it would be a supper that's in that case for specific invitees, it would not be part of the community grant.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Jeffrey.
Been thinking about that one quite a bit, and I'm puzzled as to what makes it such a restricted event. So it's, I know the purpose of having it was, and tell me if I'm wrong, the purpose of having it was an opportunity to acknowledge veterans, et cetera, and that the Legion was going to put on a dinner or something for that. So obviously, there would be certain individuals invited to attend, but it could be looked at as a public event if any of us could buy a ticket to attend. That, to my mind, makes that a more public event.
So to answer that question, thank you, Councillor Jeffrey. So if there's a public invitation, so everybody can, let's say, be part of the event,
Right.
then it would be considered. If it's specific invitees only, then it would not.
So perhaps a group like the Legion could be informed that that's what they would need to do, is just, I mean, obviously, they're restricted in numbers, so we have 20 tickets available for purchase. Anybody interested, call us. Does that now make it a public event?
We would go over that and consider that, but yeah, that's finding basically an option to do that. The intent of community events, of course, is that the whole community comes to events and is basically also free to participate. That's the core idea of these event grants, why it was initiated.
But council always
you.
has the opportunity to still approve something, right?
Right.
That's a recommendation coming from administration, so we still have the ability. So over the last year, we have chose to accept or not accept events and grants. Because there's a motion on the floor, can any of those groups be reconsidered for an amount if we have funds that are left over? Just throwing it out there. I don't know how anybody else feels.
That would be entirely based on the will of council, Madam Mayor.
Okay. And do we know approximately how many, not individuals, but how many groups were refused, groups or events were refused funding?
Thank you. Yes, of course, we know that because that's in the reports. We've seen all the applications and we know what council approved during those quarterly meetings. So we know exactly what was not granted. With that, of course, same as in Brazil County, it's good to mention if groups started to figure out that the practice was $1,000, we've seen, of course, groups anticipate that. So they asked for $1,000 because they knew that was kind of the best practice cap for the last year. So with that caution, when we, of course, know that the cap would be gone or now you have to go back, that would be totally different. We did that investigation a little bit and there were not a lot of groups indicating that. But for sure, if it's the will of council to, let's say, remove the best practice cap to make sure that funds are better and maybe fully used, we will communicate that to the groups and saying, what's your real ask, instead of maybe that they would cap it to $1,000 based on best practice.
Okay. Did you have another follow-up question, Councillor Jeffries?
Just wondering about the possibility of getting is a list perhaps of the ones that were granted during the last year, or something that shows us that information.
That would be in the minutes of those meetings that council had, of course, but we can provide it again.
Sorry, Pat, what did you ask for, a list of? Okay, so past recipients, okay. Those that were successful and then those that weren't. So what is council thinking of? Because they're, so the supporting community grants policy is here, as well as the Roger Coles Memorial. There also is a proposal coming from two other parties with this. So the question this morning is, are we happy with the process and the granting policies through the town of Drayton Valley, or are we wanting to consider looking at a different proposal? Councillor Finn?
So just a question on the actual policy. So Q4 allocation, we individualize them. Do we get clarification on what conflict of interest is?
Through the chair to Councillor Finn and all of council, yes, we did. Based on the legal opinion that was received afterwards and based on the item published on King's Printer to define conflict of interest, if you sit as an executive not appointed by council on a community group, so they're executive defined chair, president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, those sort of things, then you would be technically qualified under or disqualified under conflict of interest. If you sit as a member at large, do-gooder volunteer on a community board, not appointed again by council, you are not in conflict of interest. If you're appointed by council, you are there as a council representative and therefore you are not in conflict.
Thank you so much.
That helps. Okay, so what is everyone thinking then? We have a part A, we have a part B. Are you happy with status quo? Do you want to change it? I'll go to Councillor Bowen.
Yeah, I'm happy with status quo. I think supporting the community at large based upon them actually being available to the community makes sense to me. I don't think we need to be individualizing grants and basically sometimes cherry picking them to specific organizations based on maybe ties that we might have to those organizations. I think if they support the community, we should be supporting them. That's comfortable to me.
So are you in support then of maybe just,
Leaving the community grants as is.
As is, and
Not
the-
changing the policy yet.
oh, not changing the policy? Would we need to change the policy because we're just giving the one-offs, the 1,000, or that, as Brandon's expressing, kind of mixing Pat's comment in that we want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity?
Thank you for that. So no, we don't have to change the policy. It was best practice that we did.
Yeah.
So we will revise that. The policy doesn't have to be changed.
Okay, perfect. I'll go to Councillor Brooks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was just wondering if council has an appetite, and maybe we don't, for changing item 6 here.
Are you on the community events policy?
Yeah,
Item
so.
number 6, okay,
yeah, so page number, what is that?
yeah,
Barely read because of the border, 40, 48, 46?
yeah.
48. So number 6, the selection committee will review all applications and present the recommendations to council to approve or refuse the request. And so I was wondering maybe if the application meets all criteria, does it have to come to council? Is there any reason that we'd refuse it if it meets every criteria and then like administration just approve that? Kind of similar to what the county does with the $1,000 soft cap.
So just to kind of go off your, to answer that, then that would be going back, or I guess that would be sticking with what we're doing now with the 1,000, and then it wouldn't give all the groups the opportunity if they're applying for 3 or 4, and then we'd end up, or we'd have a whole bunch of money like we do right now, the 17,000 left over.
Policy.
Yeah,
With your permission, Counselor, the policy he's referring to from the county states $1,000, it's administrative approval. After 1,000, it's council approval. So it would still provide for Counselor Jeffrey's ask that larger sums can be addressed, but they would be addressed directly to council. To Counselor Brooks' statement, anything 1,000 or less would be administratively approved,
okay, gotcha, perfect.
if they meet the criteria.
If they meet the criteria.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So if every item is met, like, it doesn't really need to come to us. Like, we've made the policy and administration follows the policy. And then if for some reason, it exceeds a dollar amount or there's some kind of special circumstance, maybe it can come to us. That's kind of just what I was thinking. And if council wants that, we can do that. If not, that's fine too. I'm not really partial.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll go to Councillor Clark.
Yeah, I was just, I mean, we've done these grants a few times, you and I, and I find we spend a lot of time on small dollar values, and then we'll move on to a $500,000 item and just vote on it, right? So, I mean, my opinion is let's spend less time on this, and if that, $999.99 cap is kind of that criteria, I think we should, because, or 1,000,
1,001.
whatever the number is, but I think that would help save a lot of time on everybody's part. I mean, I'm in favor of that approach for sure. And then, of course, anything over that is subject to council's approval or disapproval. No, I think that's a good way to go.
Perfect, thank you. Any other comment? So sure, go ahead, Councillor Boehm.
Yeah, I guess just a comment, though. I would say that any grant that is approved, I wouldn't mind receiving it just for information, if that's something that we do, just so that we're made aware of who we are supporting in the community, so that we can attend events or so forth.
So if we do change number 6 to.
If we do change number 6 too, yeah.
Okay,
With council's permission, we would include that with the quarterly departmental reports.
okay. So I guess then what is on the table right now is we would leave everything status quo with the exception to number 6. Number 6 would change to similar to what the Brazeau County has, where administration would approve up to $1,000 and 1,001 would come to council, that kind of thing. Is everyone? Yeah. Is there a councilor that would like to make a motion then to direct administration to What would be the motion then? As follows, that council direct administration to amend the support for community grants policy. And do we want to include the Roger Coles? Is there any changes to that? Would be the same, just to include that in there? So number 7, so it would be, the motion would be, to amend number 6 and number 7 in both of those policies. Councillor Finn? Yeah, are you wanting to make a motion?
I'll go ahead and make that motion
Sure.
that council directs administration to amend the support grants for community events, section 6, to include that any grant up to $1,000 is approved by administration. Anything over $1,000 is brought to council, as well on the Roger Coles Memorial Youth Sport Grants on section 7, that council direct administration to approve anything up to $1,000. Anything over $1,000 is brought to council.
Wow, that was wonderful. Thank you very much for that motion. Ms. Thompson, did you get that? That was wonderful. Thank you very much for the motion. I'll call for comment, question, debate on the motion. Councillor Brooks?
Yeah, I was just wondering maybe if we could add just that, not just that it is under the $1,001 threshold or whatever it is, but that it follows all the criteria.
Okay, so Councillor Finn?
I can do a friendly amendment.
Yes, to yourself, you may, yes.
So providing the grant applications meet all criteria.
Perfect.
And that the grant recipients are told in the quarterly report. Informed.
Okay. And Councillor Boehm, did you want us to be informed as well? That would be brought to, that we would need a motion on that. Council.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Council.
council be informed.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, council be informed through the quarterly reports.
Wonderful. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor. Councillor Finn has made with those amendments to number 6 in the community grants policy, and then number 7 in the Roger Coles. With that being said, is there any further comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. And we will move to Part B. Councillor Finn?
I'm recusing myself from this discussion. I'm executive on both those committees. On this proposal was in before I ran for council.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Did you get that in the minutes that Councillor Finn has removed himself? Thank you for that. And then we just wait for him to leave, and then he'll close the door. Okay, perfect. So this is Part B. Ms. Whaley, would you like to present this to us this morning?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. So this proposal from the Drayton Valley Community Foundation came before previous council, and administration is asking for council to request another presentation to you, as this was their proposal, and I'm not entirely comfortable presenting all of it. The main components of the first proposal is to have the town contribute their portion of the community grants into a community foundation fund, endowment fund, thank you. And that as it grows, it would start to be self-funding. There is the possibility that the Drayton Valley Hotel and Tourism Association could consider assisting with our granting in the timeline that we would be adding to the Drayton Valley Community Foundation Endowment Fund, which would be separate and apart from, they have buckets at the foundation is how they describe it, I think. And within 10 years, our grants would self-fund themselves based on what you allowed to give out every year. And I would actually defer to Councillor Jeffrey on exactly how much that is, because like I said, I'm not the expert in this area, but this would be able to self-fund. So this is not here for a decision item today, more of a discussion if it was something that council would like to have the Drayton Valley Community Foundation present again. The second proposal is including a single application process for community groups, et cetera, and community events and all sorts of things that are available by grants everywhere, to have a single hub, hopefully including Brazeau County, the Drayton Valley Community Foundation, Drayton Valley Hotel and Tourism Association, the town, and anyone else in town who has grants, really, where it would be a single applicant, a committee made up of the member bodies that supply grants, and it would be like, oh, that would be a county grant, this would be a town grant, this would be applicable for this. So it would be a single application process for anybody who wanted a grant. In many cases, this can avoid double dipping. It can also avoid confusion and paperwork difficulties for not-for-profits and for grants. So both of those proposals were presented to previous council, and administration is merely recommending that you have another presentation on this because I am certainly not the expert.
Thank you very much for that. I'll open it up for questions. Councillor Clark?
So I do sit on the DVHTA as a council-appointed member, so I'm good to be here. Yeah, I mean, when you look at this, I mean, to me, it makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, if, you know, the DVHTA and the DVCF are willing to throw in $25,000 a year for the next 10 years to fund our granting, meanwhile, we're putting $36,000 away for 10 years, assuming an interest rate of 6%, get 500, and then it's self-sustaining after that. Then there's literally no more tax dollars that are going into it. To me, that makes a lot of sense. I think, you know, we need to get a little more wise in terms of how we're using our money and how we're deploying it and all those sorts of things. And I think this is one of those ways we can do that. And then on the other side of this, the B side of this, I think it makes a lot of sense to streamline granting in the community on so many different levels. Just, I mean, there's a lot of people doing the same thing, right? And it's duplications of effort and, like you said, double dipping. You know, and I guess what we want to do is make sure that the bang for the buck is there in terms of deploying that money, whether it's town, county, DVCF, DVHTA. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all community dollars, right? So let's use it as wisely as possible. And to me, this makes sense, so.
Councillor Jeffrey?
Okay, so if we're looking at two parts here, so first of all, the part about the town basically creating an endowment fund with the community foundation, I absolutely support that. It's a way to ensure it will be a forevermore situation. I think the amounts of basically, once you reach a certain point, and in this one, it's talking about the $500,000 level, the assurance is that 5% interest rate kind of thing will happen. Certainly, there are some years, I've been on that group for some time, there was one year where we reached a 16% return that we could give away as grants. We all have lived through the times of crashes, so we know that there could be a year when it crashes. So basically, I think what we always look at then is an average and saying over a period of time, a 5% is a reasonable expectation. The other expectation that's out there regarding 5% is that CRA has imposed a new, whatever you want to call it, that says that we must show that we have given out 5% of our returns. So that's where that 5% comes from. The idea of that turning it over that way is the one that I absolutely would support. Part B, again, I've sat on grant committees for a number of years in different organizations, and I hear way too often, well, we're not sure, but we'll tell them to apply elsewhere. I'm sure they'll qualify elsewhere. The frustration that's experienced by the groups making the applications is it's a lot of work to do those applications and reissue and reissue. And it would certainly simplify things for a very important part of it, and that is makes it easier for the applicants. And I believe firmly there'll be a much better likelihood that application requests will be met.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Brooks?
Not a question, but I like where this is going. Do we need a motion coming out of this to move forward with this?
Through the chair to Councillor Brooks, my recommendation, because again, not an expert, is that we have the formal presentation from DVHTA and from Drayton Valley Community Foundation to council to ask for formal moving forward. I would hate to have presented their proposals and missed out something that they consider rather important. So it would be best coming from the experts. Ask them to come to either a GNP or a council.
I just think there's a few more questions. Yeah. Okay. Councillor Bowen?
Yeah, I would say there's just comments. Obviously, that a lot of this is probably going to be directed towards them because we don't know and we're not the ones doing this. The 6% increase interest every single year for the next 10 years, I have concern with that number. 6% could be significantly higher than what they could be expecting. Plus, I don't know how they operate, so I don't know if they have someone else that they have managing their finances that actually invests this money over the next 10 years, and they also get a percentage of the fee. I'm not really sure how that works, so that'll be something that I direct towards them. But I do understand doing this, and I agree with doing it. I'm just not sure that 6% is going to make sense. In regards to, one application website that everybody can go to apply through, I agree with it. I think that makes sense. I guess my concern looking at it, and once again, probably something that they can answer, is it's every organization then gets access on the back end and they get to look at it individually, or how does that work? Does it just go through as a roster? I'm not really sure, but some of those is where I'm interested in asking a bit more about, is like, yeah, does it go through each individual organization and they say yes or no and then it goes to the next one? Or is it everybody looks at it together? I'm not sure, but those are kind of my questions, concerns, comments. Anyways.
Perfect, thank you for that.
Through the chair to Councillor Bohm, I can answer the second question. The proposal was to have a sort of board of directors of every organization that was going to have their grants into this, so that they could sit together and when the grant applications are in and be like, okay, this one doesn't apply to, this is a sports field grant and for a group coming to town. This is more a Drayton Valley Hotel and Tourism Association grant. So, but yeah, that was how that proposal came about.
And there would be somebody from each organization that would be maybe
Sitting that board of
sitting
director,
at
yeah.
that deciding factor. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think it would be wise for them to come and present. That way we can filter out all the questions and concerns that we might have with this going forward. Just a quick question, and this might be for Ms. Jeffries to answer. So what the intent would be that the proposal is to contribute $36,000 per year for the next 10 years. So over the next 10 years, is the town of Drayton Valley accessing those funds to be able to give out to the community, or do we have to wait the 10 years?
Again, we'll wait for a presentation, but my understanding from the bit that I've heard is that, no, there would be dollars available immediately. Like that's why the contribution of 12.5 from those two groups would be made right off the bat. So that amount of 25,000 that is currently been grant or funded for the grants would remain exactly the same for that 10-year period of time.
So we would be investing the 36,000 and then the 25 would be available for granting?
Correct, yeah. So basically the difference there of $11,000.
Okay, and then as a municipality, are we able to be investing in something like this? Are there certain, I guess, parameters that we have to work within as a municipality?
Through the chair to all of council, those have been handled. Many other organizations, including the City of Edmonton, contribute to their own community foundations, endowment funds. So
Okay,
definitely allowed.
and do we have some sort of policy when it comes to or I guess we have an investment policy. Do we have to amend the investment policy?
Should council wish to go ahead with this, we would work with the community foundation to see what policies of ours need to be amended.
Okay, perfect. Okay, if there's no further question, would you like to make a motion, Councillor Brooks?
Yeah, so before I do that, the people that need to make the presentation to us are the Drayton Valley Community Foundation and the Drayton Valley Hospitality Tourism Authority, or is it just one of them?
If you could just ask for the Drayton Valley Community Foundation, and should they require assistance, they would then ask the Drayton Valley Hotel and Tourism Association.
Okay, and is there a date that would work best for them and us, or?
I would suggest that the resolution include a future council meeting or governance and priorities meeting.
Just anyone?
Yes. You all have invited numbers of people at the moment, so we're trying to slot in all of your requests.
Okay, very good. So do we want it at a council meeting or at a government priorities?
how do I say that in a,
Either or, because it will come for decision.
okay, very good. All right, so then with that, I move to direct administration to invite the Drayton Valley Community Foundation to present their proposals to council at either a council meeting or a governance and priorities
Governance and
governance
priority.
and governance and priorities
Meeting.
meeting that is convenient to both parties.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your motion. There's a motion on the floor. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much for that. And we will have Councillor Finn come back in.
Excellent.
Okay, next up on the agenda, we have council reports. I will start with Councillor Boehm this morning.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. So, yeah, my council reports, it's been 2 weeks since our last council meeting, and so just a quick little update. A few different things that we had done. I had gone to the Yellowhead Regional Library Board meeting and had attended. That was an interesting time to be able to sit on. There is a significant number of members on that board, which I was very shocked by, but also they encompass a fairly large area, so I understand why. But yeah, that was a very good meeting. It was interesting to discuss kind of what the libraries are facing as challenges and some things that are coming down from the provincial government. As well as last week, we had gone through our operations and capital budget meetings, and that was a fantastic time with my fellow councilors, just going through and discussing different operations, different ideas that we had on what we'd like to see accomplished in the next year, as well as capital improvements that we're focused on. And then additionally, we had done the parade last Saturday. Very much enjoyed running around in my Santa suit, handing out candy to kids around town. That was a good time. And yeah, maybe I should have worn a beard. Also yesterday, we had gone and done a public works tour, as well as we had done the Waste and Water Service Center.
I wasn't listening, really.
He's giving candy to kids.
Oh, excuse me,
Anyways, yeah, very, very cool to see the Water Intelligence Center that we have in town here, see what they're doing there, and hopefully we'll be able to move forward at putting a goat on the roof. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much for your report. Next up is Councillor Brooks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, so I was at the Eleanor Pickup Arts Center meeting, where myself and Kara Westerland, who wasn't there, were appointed to the board. I got so many notes here that I didn't put in any particular order. But, so they want to expand their building, they want to add an addition onto it. But they're not eligible for capital grants from Arts, Culture, and Status of Women, that ministry, because they don't own the building. And so in order to get a capital grant, they have to be the ones that own the building. And I don't think that we're able to apply on their behalf either. So there was some discussion there about maybe we sell the building to them for $1.55, $1.56. I'm just, but, you know, something to that effect. There was some discussion there, you know, and I don't know how much we gain out of owning the building ourselves, but I know that we have put quite a bit of money into it ourselves. There were some interesting things discussed. So there's an agreement with EPAC and the Cardium Theater. So the agreement is kind of prohibits EPAC from showing movies in the old theater. But we were talking about maybe there was some potential for like older movies. You know, if somebody wanted to go and watch, you know, Star Wars in the old theater again, or, you know, Lord of the Rings or something, right? These older movies that are never going to get played
in the theater again. Which, I mean, when we were talking about that, I was really excited because that's like right up my alley. I'd pay double the price for, to go watch Lord of the Rings on the big screen again. But, yeah, so, other than that, I'm just gonna look into that. There was some discussion regarding, how people are trying to find ways to donate, and they don't really know how. We were discussing how we were looking at opening it up to like being able to be transferred and that sort of thing. But, so that's in the works. The next meeting is on December 17th at 7 PM. And then I wrote these notes for the Recreation Board with a pen that was dying. So, where am I looking at? I wish I had this one a little more organized, like the old one. Okay, so the Recreation Board, there's a recreation master plan in the works. That was a lot of the discussion, actually. We were at a, what was this? This was a Recreation Board strategy meeting? Steering committee. It was a steering committee, and Colin was there, so he knows exactly what it was. Yeah, we were considering. They were just looking for some input. Talked about how we had to consider other municipal plans and bylaws that would affect this master plan, and that the strategic and corporate business plan will likely change, given that we're a new council. The refurbishment of the trails to Rocky Rapids was identified as a concern by the county representative. And we talked about the joint use planning agreements with the schools and whether or not they were going to be considered, and they were. And we are going to have a input session regarding the master plan in March, and I didn't write down when our next meeting was, but, oh, no, I did, January 15th at 1 PM. So, that's that.
Perfect, thank you very much for your report. Next up, Councillor Clark.
Yeah, it's ditto to most of what everybody else said. The only thing I would add to the DV Brazeau Regional Rec Plan Steering Committee was we have a consultant in there, and they did a presentation on, here's the roadmap in terms of what we're doing with this steering committee and how we're creating the master plan. I liked what they had to say. I think it's going to look good at the end of the day, but yeah, there's a lot of horsepower, I think, going at this, and I think for good reason. It's one of our largest expenses, of course, right, Rec? And then being a shared thing with Brazeau County, it'll be fun to see their additions and their input on this stuff. So looking forward to that whole program.
Thank you very much for that. Councillor Jeffrey.
It's been a busy 2 weeks. I attended the first Brazeau Housing Foundation meeting. It was, I went an hour early to be oriented. There's a lot happening there, so that will be quite a project and quite an interesting group to be part of. They are having a big Christmas celebration tonight at the Shangri-La that I'll be part of, so I'm sure that'll just be the beginning of what's ahead there. I also was called in to do an orientation with the FCSS board. So that was time spent over there with Jen, and she went through a 2-inch binder of information. So that also looks like it's going to be a big project. Their first meeting that I'll attend with that board is December 11th, so that's next week, I guess. I attended the town Christmas party, which was good. It was fun. And 2 community events, not related to council necessarily, but I did do the STARS tour, which was an eye-opener. And I attended the We Are Daughters Information Evening, a program, and it's being launched here in our community. So a couple things to keep our eyes on. The budget deliberations was very good, 2 days spent. It helped a lot with my learning ambition that I have. It certainly opened my eyes to many things. I especially appreciated and I know it didn't happen necessarily at that time, but when we did the asset management plan, that really set the background that I think is really important and much of what we're going to be moving ahead on. The parade was a -20, and what I learned from that experience is do not overdress. I had way too many layers on. By the time we were done, I was, it took me a while to cool down, let's put it that way. And yesterday's experience touring the Public Works building, that was fine. And then we went over to the water plant area, and I admit I was totally, and didn't have a clue what she was talking about. But I was very impressed by what was there, and certainly felt the cha-ching that must have gone into the building of that operation. So very, very busy, but very good 2 weeks.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's pretty spectacular, our water treatment plant. Deputy Mayor Finn.
So yeah, along with everyone else, attended the town Christmas party on the 22nd. The 26th and 27th was budget meetings. Again, kudos to administration for walking us through that so easily. First budgets are always fun. Light Up Parade was on Saturday. Great job. It was a great parade. Lots of community involvement, which is there always is. The chamber did a great job organizing that. And yesterday was the tour of the Water Intelligence Center, which is a phenomenal facility. So world-class tourism for water.
Oh, I like that. Thank you very much for your report. I guess that's me. I'm up next. I as well started the council tours with the new council. We headed down to the Public Works building. It's changed since the last time that I've been there. It's filled up, so it's nice to see that our staff are utilizing that space, and they've moved in, and the offices are filled, so it's nice to see that. I also attended the winter parade. I did think it was cold. I didn't dress in layers, so I was a little bit chilly. I should have put on my snow pants, but it was well attended, excuse me, and always such a highlight just before the Christmas season to see the community all dressed and the businesses come out with their lights and everything and celebrate the Christmas season. So thank you to everybody in the chamber for hosting that. I've had a few business meetings in and throughout the community, just talking about some ideas around security and safety that I'll be bringing forward to discuss further in the new year. Of course, we did budget deliberations. We spent 2 days deliberating, and we will finalize that at our last council meeting just prior to Christmas. So a big thank you to our administration again for all the hard work and effort that they put in presenting us a budget, as well as council for surviving your first 2 days of budget deliberations. I know that it's overwhelming and there's lots to learn, and you all did a fantastic job, so thank you. I attended the grade 1 and kindergarten career day at the Drayton Valley Christian School, which is always fun because you never know what to expect with the little ones, and you go in there thinking they're all going to be excited about what you do, and they really don't care, right? They want to talk about anything besides what you do, pizza and puppies. And it was a little bit hard to compete because we had a pilot there, so the kids got to put on, like the pilot gear and the headset and everything. And then there was a vet tech there that had brought in a puppy, so that was very distracted as the kids were at my little station. Their heads were all turning around, and I was like, so then I found I was talking about things not even related to council. I was doing the same thing, like, what's your favorite movie? Are you excited for Christmas? And what's your favorite color? All these things just to try to keep their attention. But
Madam Mayor, you should have taken your chain of office. They could have tried to wear it.
I know, right? Next year I'm going to have to up it up. I should have brought my dog and the chain of office. Yeah, I've really got to come prepared. I think Miss Elvira was there too from she's our CFO, so she was giving them, I think they got a loonie and coloring, but I found even, she said they were distracted too with the puppy and everything else. So I'll have to be a little more prepared next year to keep the kids wanting to be a future councilor or mayor and keeping their attention, but it's always a lot of fun. I also attended the All Our Daughters kind of What's Happening event night. It was a very successful turnout. It was wonderful to see so many people come together in the community. I think there was like some standing room only. It was wonderful. So very excited for them, and however we can be helping and assisting and wanting to ensure that they get those granting dollars so they're successful in this. It's wonderful to have in our community. I did an interview with Big West Radio. I attended a Health Foundation event as well at the Nodding Donkey. And of course, we had our town Christmas party. So again, thank you to everyone for making that happen, and to all of our staff as we head into the end of the year for all of your hard work and everything that you do in making the town, whether it's the lights that stay on, the lawn that gets cut, snow removal, or taxes that get put out, and water bills and everything else on time. So thank you, everyone, for all of that. And that wraps up my council report. Is there a member of council that would like to receive the reports as information? Councillor Jeffrey, thank you very much for that. Oh, you have a couple questions about council report? Sure. Go ahead, Councillor Brooks.
So one question, Councillor Jeffries, on the Brazeau Foundation, have you been presented with the vacancy report yet? Have you seen that? I'm going to say no.
She's only had one meeting, so let's give her a little bit of
Yeah.
time.
Yes, they may have presented the vacancy report. I don't recall exact numbers, and I don't
Yeah.
have that information with me, sorry.
Yeah, I asked because the last I heard, it was, so they have 81 rooms within the lodge, and they have a wait list of roughly 60 people. So it's almost double what their total vacancies could be. But it's fine if you don't know what it is. I was curious.
Okay.
The other thing, I was wondering if when we do our board reports, would council like them, like if I were to write mine out, like type them out and add them to the agenda, would that be fine? Or does council feel like that would just kind of clutter up the agenda? Do we only want them orally?
So we did have this discussion in the past, council, and we did say if you could have your council report sent in to Ms. Thompson prior, that would help, but we found that it wasn't always working out that way, so we kind of left it as, if you want to hand in your report, then it's easy that she has it, and then if you have any additions. So my recommendation would be just to maybe have it wrote out on your agenda or in your notes. If you have a laptop, write it in there. I keep mine on my laptop, and then Ms. Thompson can capture it. I know that there was a bit of discussion around too, because of iCompass. I think it's easier to do it this way.
Easier to do it this way, and sometimes the timing of when I get them, I can't add them to the agenda.
Yeah. So if you want to just kind of have a little list categorized, so then you can read off prior to coming, that makes it easier, and then she captures it, and then we can approve it in the next meeting's minutes.
Okay. Yeah, so the reason I ask is because this isn't going to sound great, but when I was on county council.
You're not on county council, you're town council.
No, I know, but I would present a report orally. And, regarding, somebody would have a question for me about the board I was sitting on. I didn't have the answer right then. I got the answer, and at the next report, I'd mentioned that I was asked this question at the last council meeting, and this is the answer to that question. And that was the last part of the report that I'd done. And then the very next thing, a counselor had asked in the mic, had asked the exact same question that I had just answered, and said that that person had asked at the previous meeting. And so that was the moment I was like, okay, I'm just going to write it out, and then you can have the answer in front of you. But because people weren't paying attention was the thing. And so and it isn't necessarily that people aren't paying attention always, but I just find that when I hear a report orally, if you ask me in 20 minutes what specifically Councillor Jeffries had said, I might not be able to tell you.
You can always go back and read the minutes
And
the
it's
next
not that I
time.
wasn't listening, it's just,
And it's recorded, or you could go home and watch it tonight.
yeah. Yeah, so anyway, when I read something, it's just easier for me to remember it or go back to it. But no, that was the only reason I was asking. So, yeah, okay, I will keep that in mind.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. So that wraps up our council reports. Jumping into council items, this is where we do a roundtable discussion on maybe any emails that are coming through, what's happening in the community, events and stuff like that.
Madam Mayor, sorry to interrupt. We didn't end up voting on the accepting the council reports for information.
Oh, okay, thank you. I believe
Councillor Jeffrey did, I
Councillor
believe.
Jeffrey made the motion to accept the council reports as information. I'll now call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. We'll jump into the roundtable discussion. I do have a couple things. I'll start. So I did notice that there was an invitation for a business networking that's happening in January. This is for, Ms. Whaley, if you could maybe help us all?
Yes, thank you, Council. The Business Support Network, which is a partnership between Brazeau County, Town of Drayton Valley, and University of Alberta, is doing their premier launch event on January 14th. And it's all been put in your calendars. Tickets will be organized for you, but this is an excellent first event where we will have networking and businesses local to the community able to meet each other and start understanding the fact that we're heading on an advocacy committee to see what they need and see how we can assist as a region. So that event has just been added to your calendars.
Perfect, thank you. So I think if you're interested in going, you just have to accept for that. And then it tells you the location and everything. And then if you're ever concerned, like when something like that comes, we can talk, this is where we can talk about it, who's going, who's representing, what actually is this. This is where we would have those conversations. There's also an event happening this evening. I think you all have it in your calendars. That is for the Youth Advisory Council. And does anybody have any questions around that for this evening? No? Okay, yes. So I believe, it's at the CETC, and it's at 5 to 8. And I believe Dr. Unger will be here this evening. If none of you have met him, he's been part of the RISE project and just on some projects with the town of Drayton Valley over quite a few years, so he'll be there this evening as well. And then another roundtable, just, oh, sure, go ahead, about the business networking.
Yeah, I think we had chatted about this previously, but I can't remember. It was the Health Foundation is doing a business get-together, or they have, right? And is there any conflict there in terms of kind of what they're trying to do versus what we're trying to do? Or is there any overlap or opportunity even to maybe work with them on that front?
Through the chair to Councillor Clark, there's always opportunity to work with people. I believe the Health Foundation has started this because there was an unsuccessful applicant to run the Business Support Network when it was initially approved by grant funding from the U of A. It was outside of scope of what was affordability. So we would absolutely enjoy partnering with the Health Foundation and the BSN to work together on a voluntary basis, so.
The only thing I want to avoid is just, what do you want to call it, like fatigue, from the business community. You don't want two different streams of things going, trying to do the same thing, and anyway.
Yeah, and when I did attend the Health Foundation event the other evening at the Nodding Donkey, I did suggest reaching out also to Geraldine, who is leading her and Maria's team, reading that rural wealth, because I know they were talking a bit about housing in that too. So again, not to duplicate and overlap, to be working with all the groups and everything. So I did suggest that, and then hopefully they'll also come to this event if they're interested on the 15th or 14th of January, and then there'd be an opportunity to collaborate and jump on. I do agree with you that we don't want to be duplicating, because I think the businesses are overwhelmed as it is, right? And they'd like to have one stop to be able to help them excel their businesses for sure. And then one last thing, I did have a request come in from Holy Trinity Academy for their football team. And that was getting a discount for the team to be using the gym for practice or something like that. I don't know. It's coming from the coach of the football team at Holy Trinity. Is there a student discount that they can be accessing?
If you could put the principal in touch with me or Mr. Van Claveren, then we will sort out what information they need. But without seeing the request of what they're actually asking for, I would not like to answer from the floor, so.
Okay, sure. Yeah, it's just coming in from one of the students who is the coach, coach, I guess, what would you call him? Captain, thank you. Captain of the team, and he's wanting to have his team have an opportunity. So I will forward that information to him, and then you can further discuss. Perfect. Does anybody else have roundtable discussion items? Councillor Jeffrey?
Just have a question about the email that came regarding the emerging trends in municipal law happening in Edmonton in February. Did
So
anyone
that was
else-
hosted by Brownlee, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I know that I've
Yes.
gone quite a few times, and it's very informative. You learn lots. Yeah, that might be great for anyone who hasn't attended, or even a good refresher for the counselors that have gone. Did you register for that?
No, I haven't registered, and that's basically, I'm wondering if there's other interest in it.
Yeah. What's the date?
Edmonton is February the 12th.
Is that strategic planning?
No, ma'am, that would not be in conflict.
That's not, okay.
Thursday. Yeah, or there's one in Calgary on February the 5th.
Okay. So if anyone's wanting to register, and then you can do carpooling or whatever.
Just if you could let Erin know, and she'll register you.
Okay.
Perfect. Yes, Erin, I guess anything that comes through, we want to send to Miss Erin so she can register and she knows where we are and take care of all of that. Thank you. Anything else? I'm not sure if we've got any recent emails here for some requests. Okay.
We did get that one.
We did get that one this morning.
Councillor Clark, did you have?
With respect to, I won't say the name, but an individual who expressed some concern over recreation programs in the area as it relates to folks with autism, specifically kids. She was looking for the town to potentially drive the bus in terms of making sure there's inclusiveness in sport and that there's places for those kids to do sport. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there, and I did forward it to you as well.
Excellent.
So-
Administration will work with them and see how we can assist them in collaboration with the community groups.
Perfect, thank you. Anything else? No, okay. We have 4 information items this morning. 11.1, council conference report from Deputy Mayor Finn, council report from Councillor Jeffrey, myself, and Councillor Bohm. This was from our conference that we attended at Alberta Munis. So thank you very much for that. Is there a member of council that would like to accept these as information? Councillor Finn, thank you very much. All in favor? That is carried. And now I would need a member of council to move us into,
Bring up an item just with respect to Alberta Munis in particular.
Sure.
When there's a council report, I mean, we're all there anyway. I wonder if it's worth just having one council report for that, because we're all essentially attending the same things, as opposed to individual.
well, I think that the intent was when we have it, it's included in our policy, is because everyone attends different sessions.
Sessions, yeah.
Right? So, and sometimes not everyone will go to the meetings, like this was our first time, so, but there could be someone that could be in a session rather than a meeting, or, a couple of us could be going to one meeting. We've been double booked before in the past, and so that could be where one goes, I think that, and it is that
Just
transparency.
that, and my only thought was just, this is the one thing you might want to consolidate, just because a lot of it is duplication, but anyway, just a thought.
What does everyone think? Councillor Brooks?
I'm wondering if maybe, I don't want to say, it's not necessarily one or the other, but maybe just have one big council report, like that we all kind of work on. I have this to add and you have that to add, and then we just have it all in one thing, right? Like, it doesn't really make sense for, all of us to write a report on the same thing that we all did. But if Ryan went to if Councillor Finn went to the one session, even that was wrong. If Deputy Mayor,
I know, I always say
Ryan
counselor. Excuse me.
if His Excellency went to one session, and Councillor Clark,
Yeah,
Deputy Your Worship,
yeah.
went to one session and Councillor Clark went to another session, sure, we just have it in the same form. I went to this, and this is kind of what happened there. And then, we just kind of put them all together in one, right? So.
Whatever works.
There's any merit to that?
What's that? Food for thought, yes. We can think about it. We don't have any conferences coming up in the next little while, so we have some time to think about that before our next one. Did I ask for a motion to accept? Okay. And did you, we accepted, okay. There's always like conversation right around that. Okay, is there a member of council that would like to move us in close? So have you, has this council moved us into close before? Okay. Okay, so we'll give it a try. I'm going to go to Councillor Finn. Deputy Mayor Finn, sorry.
I move that council move it into closed session at 11:28 a.m. in accordance with Section 27(2) of the Access to Information Act.
Wow, look at you, good job. It's like you've done this 100 times. Oh, you cheated, you had a little, oh. Oh, I was like, that is fantastic, wow. Okay, I'll call the motion, all in favor. That is carried.